lovely people.
Hello.
For anyone that doesn't know us, I'm Dani.
And I'm Will. And this is our dog Bailey.
We are standing at the top of what we now call Bailey's homestead. About 6 months ago we bought a piece of land and property here in the north of Portugal, and today we just thought we would show you around, show you where things are, and show you how our land is set out and how it's made up.
Yeah, give you a wee bit of a tour.
Bit of a tour. So at the moment we are just stood at the top of the lane which leads down to our property. There are two entrances to our house. This is the one we normally take, which takes us past the neighbour's property, and there's another entrance which hopefully we might be able to use in the future, but the road leading up to it is very rocky, uneven, washed away by the rain, and not really a proper road, but it would be quicker for us to get to the local town if we could use the other entrance, which we'll show you later on in the video. So this is the lane that leads right down to the house where we park the car at the moment. It's just, our house is at the very end of the lane and we go past the neighbour's house as well. Come here, Bill. We're very lucky, it's super quiet up here.
Here we're a wee bit on down, that's the road. You can see our car in the distance. We're going down to the right. There's our well up in the distance. These buildings here must have been used for something in the past. We have no need for it at the minute. Just coming down here brings us onto the field, our well field, which is a very big field. It is one of the higher parts. Football pitch, bigger than the football pitch. Up behind it you can see that big electric pole. Towards that is sort of the boundaries to our property. So behind all that bush is the further field, which is very overgrown. We've been told it's about the size of this and a half past this line, so quite a lot of area up there still.
We have 16 wonderful acres of land that came with our property, and it's divided into fields kind of in the higher part of the land and forest down at the bottom part of the land. We are currently stood in the field that has our well on it. We're completely off grid here on the property, which is exactly what we wanted. So our water's off grid and comes from the well, which we'll show you now. And our electricity comes only from solar panels, which we will show you later.
This is our well, and then it runs and feeds into our water tank. We also have the big water pool thing here, which we don't use at the moment, but for the next summer or two it'll definitely be.
We might fill it with water.
Might fill it with water.
And we can use it for it to cool off in the hot summer days.
Yeah. Nice view from the well field. Just past the well there's a wee small field to the side of it. Just a bit higher than the field below, not by much. Hello in there. There's a wee bit of an entrance and a small bit that is open, and this is a bit further back, closer to where we started or higher up on our property.
Yes, you can see the electricity. Well, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but the electricity poles are just there. So kind of where the electricity poles start is where our land begins. But as you can see, it is completely overrun by gorse. But potentially a really good sized field for us to use in the future for something.
Yeah, bit hard to tell because of all the gorse, but it is a very big field. This bit is relatively small in comparison with the full area. As you go down below, you can sort of see through a little bit better. Just going through a wee small entrance.
Stuck in brambles, story of our lives.
This is just back on to our well field. The well just up there, and the road is just up a wee hill at the far side of the field. Our property at this end, just into these bush, is our boundary wall. I think a couple of meters, maybe 2 or 3 meters up that way. This is us now down on to our next field terrace. A little bit smaller than the one that has the well on it, but still a good size.
Just here actually you can kind of see the stone which marks the boundary for the property. So we're quite at one side to the field and it runs once again right over to the pathway. So with these top fields we've got the one that we're stood on, the well field, and then the overgrown really large field at the top. We've also got a field below.
Field below.
And from talking to neighbours and things, everybody suggests that we should get some animals, which I'm so down for. Really excited about that in the future, whether that be goats or sheep or something else.
Something along them lines, definitely.
We've just so much land and we're using hand tools for most of it. We don't have a tractor, we don't have anything like that, so I think some animals could really help us out with that. Also add a little bit of life and character to the farm.
Yeah.
The one thing that we will need to do though before that is look at some fencing. As you've probably noticed in the video, nothing's really fenced off and everything's quite open, so if we do get animals we will obviously want to care for them as best as we possibly can. So yeah, we need housing, we need fencing. We're just not quite there just yet, but
in the future I think it'll definitely happen.
Yeah, exciting times for the future.
Yeah.
I just picture a couple of little goats running up behind us.
You might notice a little bit of frost in the ground. We've been getting quite a bit of cold weather, especially during the nights. So it has been very frosty in the mornings, especially where the sun doesn't hit early. It's quite nice to look at, but a bit cold at the same time.
What temperature did you say it was the other day?
It's -2 or -3. It's pretty cold.
Pretty cold for Portugal.
Yeah. This is the next field down from the last terrace, and this eventually, hopefully not too long away, will be our bird field.
Birds!
Where we plan to get chickens and ducks to start with. We have started clearing parts, still, as you can see, and you might be able to hear the water. There's a lot of clearing and redirecting the water just to get it to not span the whole field.
So this side, as you can see, still very overgrown. You'll notice quite a lot of clippings here in the middle as we have been working on this side. I'm clearing it back.
As this bit is a bit like the opposite side. Behind all that is a nice wall, goes the whole way along, and we've cleared up to this part, keeping all the good, well-grown trees, mostly oaks. And behind we're clearing right up to the walls, which is making a big difference.
This makes the field a lot bigger too.
Makes it a lot bigger. once we get this all cleared and sorted out, we're ready to start preparing it for our birds, which will entail probably fencing around the top of the walls at the back sides to protect them, and somewhere along the bottom with a few gates we'll be building separate duck house and chicken coop. Probably bigger than it needs to be, so as in the future we can expand on our birds when we want to, and we don't need to build separate coops.
I want it to be a state-of-the-art chicken coop.
State-of-the-art chicken coop. This field, the bird field we will call it for now, then leads down. You can see the metal shed, which is quite central to our land. To the right of it is our pond, which our ducks will be able to enjoy eventually. Towards the bottom end of our bird field there's our pear tree, which we have planted. A few nut trees over to the right.
Fun fact, we have some partridges around the land, so maybe once the pear tree gets bigger we will have a partridge in a pear tree.
Down here is our pond, which needs sorted out, but we'll get a lot of use in the future.
Yes, the plan is the duckies will be able to come out of their ducky house and trip straight into the pond. It's leaking heavily at the moment, as we've mentioned in previous videos, but we'll get there with it. We've also got the big storage shed here, which is the roof's solid but the sides are falling apart. Eventually we hope to put fresh timber cladding on all the walls and keep it as a really useful storage shed. And then heading over this direction, we very recently moved our solar panels to here. This area it's completely south facing and gets the sun for most of the day, really. And beside it we have Bailey's Run, which it was one of the first things we built here. As most of you will know, Bailey is always by our side, has free run of the property, sneaks into our own bed at night. The run is really just for if we are heading out at somewhere safe and secure to leave her. I'm not sure how she's going to get on with the birds, the chickens, the ducks. We'll see in the future. A little bit of training to be done there, I suppose, but they can keep each other company if we're out and about, which isn't really that often, to be fair.
There's our solar panels getting all the sun.
So this area kind of faces the house, as you can see over here. You can see it's fairly shaded and this side's sunny, but we are in the height of winter, so the sun's a lot lower in the sky than what it would be during the summer months. It is quite high up, this little ruin. It's ours, it's part of the property. Yes, we plan to do something with it in the future. We're not exactly sure what, possibly a little tiny house or something like that. So many large bits of slate.
Yeah, I reckon it used to be a slate roof on this little building. Very small, seems like one room. There was 2 floors in it previously. So go inside, it is quite small, lots of slate and tiles on the floor, but you can see halfway up there's the remains of wooden beams, which would have been the floor to the second level.
Imagine living in
You
here.
can see the holes where they used to be. But it's quite small. I'm guessing for animals. Big window up high.
I I think it's a lot of effort to go to for animals. I think somebody lived here like years and years and years ago.
Possibly.
Years ago.
But a nice wee area.
Solid
Have we
ground.
table and seats, would be nice.
Yeah.
Especially in the winter mornings, because over here's nice and warm and sunny. And over at the house, it's still in the shade. Those of you that have been watching for a while will be quite familiar with our driveway area. We've shown it a few times, but this is where we park our car. More or less the end of the lane. Goes a wee bit further, but it's just a dead end. Just down this hill.
Driveway sort of starts from here. When we first arrived, you could just about fit a person down there, never mind a car.
We had the duck and weave in between the branches to get down to the house. Well, it's a lot easier now. As we're going down, our land property goes over that direction a bit, but again it's very overgrown at the minute. Down around here is the back of the animal houses, which will be our future workshop. This is our peach tree from the first video, I think.
The very first video.
It has a peach on it. It's not looking very edible, but it's there.
Our newly replaced kitchen roof.
Looking good.
It is looking good. This little area is where we recently planted some fruit trees. And we'll bring you down just to show you the property from the front. As you can see, it's super icy. But it's what, like 3 days to Christmas?
3 days.
Nice of you to join us. So I'm just stood at the front of our actual house, which feels a lot bigger than what we actually need, but it came with the land, so we're just getting used to it. The house is sort of sat at this side of the land, at the right hand side, if you're facing the way I am. We're using this little building as a gardening shed at the moment, and on this level where I'm stood, there's actually other rooms which remain quite untouched since we've moved in, because we've been focusing on the second level, which is the main sort of house living level. Fun fact, we were speaking to our neighbours and they told us that in this downstairs room there used to be a cow, which it's just strange to imagine, but that's how they did things back then. So these are quite big sized rooms, the size of the actual house, which we will show you a little bit more of in the future. We'll not scare you by opening the doors in there though at the moment, because spiders. And another fun thing that we learnt from the lady that used to own here, she lived here her entire life, but this little building used to be used as her WC, her outhouse, which, just imagine coming out here on a day like this. She's there as the bathroom.
We're just going on round the corner to give you a wee view. We haven't done very much at all around here, but we will in the future.
This was all old animal houses, still filled with hay and animal feed and animal bedding, but the plan is to take most of them away and create a nice outdoor kitchen area here, and the workshop up behind it on the higher level, closer to the road for access purposes, get materials delivered and things. But it is, just looks a bit messy.
Bit of our scrapyard at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the scrapyard, but has potential to be a really nice area. Just given the view from here is incredible.
Eventually our outdoor kitchen will be up around here, which is a very nice view just slightly higher. And this just links to the other end of the house, the opposite side of our kitchen.
So everything from the house this way will be used as a garden type of area. This terrace here, which spans the whole length of the house a little bit further, will be our future food forest, where there are already quite a few fruit trees, and very recently, last week's video actually, we planted more trees.
So up there from our house, we come down, there's Dani, and this is our shed. We're using it for wood storage just to keep it dry at the minute.
It was hard to imagine when we first arrived, but we can see it more now, and after talking to our neighbours. There's a road that runs up from our driveway where the car is, and it comes right down here, down past the house, and then down where I'm standing, as you can see.
Down here.
And it goes right round and over that way.
Right round here and round the back, and that eventually leads to the opposite entrance to our land.
Which used to be used as the main entrance back in the day. As we mentioned earlier, the road leading up to that isn't great, but definitely in the future we would be interested in using that other entrance. But we'll take you down and show you. At this time of the year, this pathway is very green. If you look back to any of our videos that were recorded during the summer, this was just like a dirt pathway, wasn't it?
Dirt and dusty and so dry.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine. Well, it's hard to believe that it's so green. So, ponds here. We have our compost bins here. We have our swales, which come from the pond right round the edge of the land this way, and also this way.
Also go round under the road and along below the wall of our food forest.
In this little area we've planned greenhouse in the future.
Just in here.
We've planned to keep the road clear should we need to use it or want to use it in the future. And down here will be where the magic happens. And here we plan to put garden beds the way along, because we want to grow as much as we can and as much of our food as possible. So that's the goal. We're working towards self-sufficiency.
So down in this lower terrace, probably mostly raised garden beds, no dig garden for all our fruits and veg. Well, veg mostly.
Yes, we've got all
We've got the trees for our fruits, mostly. Little cave up in there.
Over to this side is our lookout point, which we sat in quite often and had dinner.
It's that bit that's getting a nice bit of sunshine.
Really nice view from over there, hence the name, the lookout point. Kind of from here onwards, apart from this little bit of road which we'll show you, this is the beginning of our forest, and we think we've got, well, we're not sure exactly how many acres of forest, but 4 or 5 acres, something like that.
Yeah.
It's quite overgrown, really quite overgrown, and once again we did show us walking through the forest in another video, but the potential there is fantastic. We found another water source down there, a nice open bit at the bottom. Yeah, so many ideas and plans for the future. We'd love to have like an outdoor sauna, like sort of some cabins in the woods. I think the potential is endless. So
Lots of potential.
yeah, really excited about all that.
So on round here, it's just our road following round.
Kind of at a crossroads here. If you were to come down here in a car, you would come from this way, and this way brings you down to your forest. We'll take you up this way and show you the other entrance to our land. As we mentioned at the very start, we have 2 entrances, And so one's up behind the house and the other one would bring you down this way and enable you to be able to drive right through the,
Drive right through,
the land and the property.
around the
to
road,
house.
up behind the house, and then we join on to the other road.
Yeah.
Yeah. So quite relatively clear, this road, still very flat, but just overgrown gorse at each side, overhanging it, which we just need trim back a bit. Nice big stone walls along the edges.
Once again, there's a pretty epic view from here, which we'll show you a little bit whenever we show you the top part of the forest.
See wee bits through the gorse.
This gorse is the most
Oh, that's
evil
gorse.
plant.
Spiky.
Evil. Really hurts. So we're just coming up to the boundary. This is where our land sort of stops along the road. It does kind of go straight down that way still, but if you were to come up the road, we could technically in the future possibly put a gate in here. And you can see the signage here that the previous owners had put in, so they did use this as their main driveway.
Yeah.
Guarded property.
Guarded property.
Our property's guarded by our little Bailey.
And
We'll make a guard dog out of her yet.
then the road just goes down and links on to another road, but a bit on down it's where it's rocky and just not the best at the moment to drive along.
So we have cleared this entranceway into the forest, and we'll not take you the whole way down because we'll be here all day. But we'll give you a bit of an overview. So the view from here is amazing. As you can see looking out, a lot of the trees have started to lose their leaves, but the majority oak, so we're so lucky to have such a big oak forest here. What we want to do is create pathways so we can walk around the forest and start creating some nice areas for us to just enjoy within the forest. But like we mentioned, we haven't been here a terribly long time, so we are taking it one step at a time.
Yeah. From here we're just down into the entrance of our forest. Haven't came very far. But from just up to the right, these pine trees, to the right of them is the back entrance to our land. It goes across to these rocks up in the far hill. And it goes sort of down, a bit hard to explain. Goes down from these rocks to roughly this big pine tree. And goes then on further on down, just past these pine trees, which is quite far away, and then it sort of goes back up again the far side, back up the whole way to the other side of the car.
Here we are in a small part of our forest. Feels quite different in here in the winter with all the leaves off the trees. The one really nice thing about our property is you can see all the love and care that has went into it over the years. At some times I have no doubt that it would be thriving.
Yeah, it would have been a very well maintained farm at one stage.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
would have been used to support a family, which is really nice. We just hope to restore it to its former glory.
Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed seeing around the place.
If you do want to see any of the projects that we've done in more detail, such as our water system, our solar panels, planting trees, digging swales, all that, you'll find it on our channel. And please do hit subscribe if this was of interest to you. We have lots of exciting things coming up, as we mentioned in the video. We've got chickens, ducks, goats, and yeah, more renovations, more gardening. We have a long way to go, but so many exciting projects coming up in the future. So do hit subscribe if you would like to see any of that.
Follow our journey.
If you celebrate Christmas, happy Christmas! Boas festas!
And a happy new year to everyone.
See you soon!
Goodbye.